Smoke holders? No. I don't want you guys to smoke. I'm gonna say right now. I'm gonna say something right now. If anyone ever tries to complain, not you guys, like randoms that don't watch me. If anyone tries to complain about me holding a cigarette on stream, I'll eat them alive. I don't want to hear it. I remember when Mouse had a cigarette on one of her models and it wasn't even a toggle. It was a PNG of a cigarette that she like stuck to her face or stuck to her hand. And there were like people harassing her and they're like, you're promoting smoking. I was like, shut the fuck up, you fucking baby. Like, what do you... What? She's a cartoon. She's animated, okay? And she took a PNG of a cigarette and slapped it on. Oh my god. You know how many characters like smoke in shows because people in the world smoke sometimes? Jesus Christ. Now it's one thing if you're doing that and you're like telling your chat, you should do this. That's different, but oh my god. Fred Flintstone smoked. Yeah. The number of people, back in the day, the number of like high schoolers that would smoke was really high. Nowadays, it's like way less than 10%. It's like less than even 3%. Maybe less than that. It's so few. Like, we've beaten that. The problem now is vaping. Now I'm gonna say right now, if you do a thing and you choose to do a thing, that's your choice. Whatever, I don't care. What I don't like is when they choose to do a thing because they think it's better for them, but it's not. They think it's fine, like they have bad information on it. Then I'm like, ooh, I think they just don't know. It's not better. It's really bad still. They'll get cheese lung. Yeah. Yeah. So do you think Mousy needs to obliterate more chatters with the old ban hammer? Honestly, I think most streamers need to ban more people from their chats. 100%. But I'm also someone who is just a little bit stricter with that in general anyway, so that's just me. But yeah, I don't, if someone's just got like weird vibes, like they're not being a bad person, they're just sitting there and complaining about something that no one fucking cares about. I mean, maybe they gotta go. You know, maybe they gotta go. I'll start renting Geega's mods out for a week at a time to clean up other chats. No, we're keeping them. I don't think they want to deal with other chats. Very few. I think a lot of them are mods here for a reason, because of the vibe. Make what's going on a banned term. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good filter. You know, there are a lot of like really weird things that you could put in as in the language filter as like a proper filter. But yeah, people saying what's going on. People that come into chat and just say what's going on. In this chat, there are no regulars that say that. It's all new people. And guaranteed, the majority of people that come in and do that, they are young. And instead of just watching the stream to learn what's going on, they just type it and wait for the chat to tell them. And it's weird, and I don't know why they do it, but it's almost always an indicator of young people. I don't know why the correlation is so strong, but almost every time when we're like, yo, what's going on with you? What'd you do today? They're like, I went to high school today. Like, it's just one of those correlations that's so strong. And I don't know why, but it is. They treat Twitch chat like Grok. I think they actually do want the chat to be their own chat GPT. I think that's what they're looking for. They're like, I'm going to ask this thing and it's going to tell me. It's crazy. You know what I can't stand about Grok? You know what I can't stand about it? It tries to answer you like a cool uncle. That's what it tries to do. Okay, most other things, you go, summarize this, what is it? And it goes, it is this. Grok is like, well, let me spin you down a little story real quick. You know, so this guy was, and I'm like, what the fuck am I reading? Like, it tries to be cool, but it comes off like weird. I don't know why it does that. It just, yeah, they're trying to make it sound human, but it's very obviously like real lame. I don't know. Perfect weird Uncle RP. Yeah. Yeah, AI shouldn't have personality. Yeah, I don't think so either. And it keeps bringing up shit that's like incorrect. A lot of its information is very wrong. It doesn't have a way to verify if its information is correct or not. It just thinks a thing and says it. So it's just kind of like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like it. It is the weird uncle. It is. Sick of AI being everything. Like, I just want to talk to someone on the phone instead of a little bot doesn't understand anything. So long as something is cheaper, people always do it. The only way things will change is if it hurts someone's wallet. So like, if you don't like the customer service is always some sort of bot trying to help you instead of a person, then you have to take your business elsewhere where they use people for that. Thing is, no one does that. So, you know, if you don't like a thing and you boycott it properly and that company loses revenue and you're like, the reasoning is because you do this, then they might change it. But it doesn't really happen in practice. I'm a firm believer that like the world doesn't change until people get hungry. So anything people say they're going to take a stand for, or like they really don't like or they really don't want, they're just going to put up with so long as they can keep like eating food and watching TV. I think that's just kind of like how things are. You know, and I'm not saying this to be ultra cynical or anything. This is what I've noticed. It really, like, no one goes out of their way to like heavily boycott a thing, inconvenience themselves, you know, use a different service, blah blah blah, until like things are bad for them. So as long as soda is like 2 cents per giant soft drink, you know, people are gonna be fine. If it's not recognized that people are hungry, yeah, the thing is, most people that are still like able to live hungry. There's a difference between able to live hungry and like dying off hungry. So as long as they're the former, nothing really happens. Boycotts hardly ever work. Yeah, I think most people don't want to commit. They don't really want to commit to that. I also think, you know, people call upon boycotting every little thing. And I think the more you do something, the more it feels less impactful. So when people are like, I don't like this, so I'm going to boycott it, it kind of has lost its value. And it's less of someone taking a stand and more of them just being like, yeah, I just don't like it, right? It just feels more casual and not that important. So, yeah, I think stuff like that doesn't really work well nowadays. I'm on Ozempic, I'm never hungry. Exactly. Listening to a company call where they wanted to use AI to replace their call center workers because all the interactions are largely scripted anyway and nobody wanted to do it, in quotes. Yeah, I mean, it's cheaper to use an automated system like that. And no, okay, this is actually true. A lot of people don't want to do jobs that are grueling and difficult in the US. There are people who will do these jobs, but there isn't the amount of people needed willing to do that shit. But in other countries, there are. So this is something that's true in certain industries that I know from people around me, you know, talking about it all the fucking time. A lot of jobs that are hard labor, they cannot like get an American high schooler to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do that for my career. Nursing, there are never enough nurses because people know it's grueling work and they don't want to do grueling work. You work landscaping, you can't find anyone nowadays. That's another good example, landscaping. Yeah, because you don't get paid well. These are people who never got paid that well, but it's even worse nowadays. You don't get paid well. You don't get treated well, typically. It's often backbreaking, is often physically demanding or really mentally demanding, right? If you're like in a call center all day, and people just don't want to do it. They'd rather be jobless, you know, or like take a worse job money-wise so that they don't have to deal with, you know, the strain. And people genuinely just don't want to do it. So stuff like call centers, no one wants to work in them. So yeah, they either outsource it or, you know, they're just turning to AI because that's, you need a call center. You need something. The cheap landscapers are due to bad. The good ones are due to expensive. Yeah, there's like no in between. It's crazy why plumbers are so expensive. I used to say it all the time to a lot of folks. I'd be like, you should go into trades. You should look at plumbing. You should look at construction. Construction's maybe a little worse of an industry. You should look at being an electrician. You should look at being a steam fitter, random shit like this that you can get a good job in. Go become a tradesman and you get paid well. If your goal is I need to be paid well and I don't want to do a super like brainy job, then that's what you do. But a lot of people would hear it and go like, oh, a trade, and everyone would act like they're so much better than a job. I don't think anyone is better than a job. If it pays you and you can do it without wanting to die, okay. Hell yeah. Like there's no, I don't know. People have this idea of themselves in their head and they're like, you know, don't want to be a tradesman because they see it as lesser maybe, but dude. And trades can be brainy. Yeah, it's more so the perception that they're not. They're, depending on what you're doing, it really can be. Fixing physical things will always be good money. Always. Always. And you can outsource it if you like bring someone in from another country to do it, quote unquote, but that person has to physically be there. Okay? You cannot outsource that job like remotely, you know? So that's something that will always exist. So, I don't know. I know some people that did become tradesmen kind of against all the people saying, oh no, don't do that, oh it's terrible work, whatever, they're all chilling. A couple friends in construction really like needed to get out of it and get into a different trade because it's so backbreaking. But that's what they did. They just went into a tangential trade, something kind of similar but not exactly the same, trained up in that, and they're all doing well, and they're all getting paid more than a lot of my other friends that went for like normal office jobs where they thought they were like somehow better for wearing a normal button-down shirt every day and sitting at a desk. I don't know. It's interesting. Does your current job get paid enough? What I'm doing now? I mean, like as a streamer? Is that what you're asking? I would say on paper, if my goal was just to live each year, yes. The problem is, something people don't realize, creators don't typically last long. Like the thing you're doing isn't usually something you can do for 20 plus years. Average content creator is like 5 years, 3 years. Obviously you hope it can go for longer, but you have to prepare and assume that it won't, because for most people it won't. So yeah, I think it's more like it's getting longer and longer nowadays, but 7 years, how many careers have like a cap of like 10 years? Not many. Most of them you could go forever, right? This shit, it ends at some point, right? Or you can keep it going, but it gets like, you know, to less and less revenue over time. So what you have to do is you have to make enough each year to try and retire early, or to have money to fund a thing to do later, which is really tough. Really tough. So when you think about that, my answer to that is no. I don't right now. Catterbox leave the rate. Like, I don't make big bucks like that to be like, you know, funding some crazy thing that's going to be able to make me money later. Like, I currently, no. I am going to do my best to save and do everything I can to try and get there. But, you know, that's how it goes